The February train derailment and release of toxic chemicals in East Palestine is still impacting the town and continues to spark calls for legislation to improve rail safety. But statistics show train derailments are actually common. The Federal Railroad Administration reports there were more than 1,000 here in the United States last year alone.
And the situation in East Palestine isn't unique either. Michaela Marshall and I went to two different towns that experienced similar disasters to learn about what their recovery process has been like and how they feel about it now.
Yes, we got royally screwed. Royally. My mama's lungs is gone. She's got 60% of her lungs left, 40% of them gone.
3 small towns, 3 train derailments involving a release of toxic chemicals.
It looked like a real mysterious movie at the night, when it's spooky, and then all heck broke loose.
From Paulsboro, New Jersey to Graniteville, South Carolina, we examined what went wrong and what was learned from accidents similar to what happened here in Ohio.
They ruined an entire town, and they've ruined a lot of people's lives with what they did.
And from health to home values, the message the people of these towns have for those living in East Palestine.
What's your advice for people in East Palestine?
My advice to people in East Palestine is hold out and fight for your community. Don't give up.
Now, Michaela, I visited Graniteville, South Carolina, an old textile town where a train derailment in 2005 released chlorine into the community. 9 people died.
And Chuck, I went to Paulsboro, New Jersey, which is a small town just outside of Philadelphia, where a train derailment in 2012 released vinyl chloride into the water and air. And that's the same chemical that was released in East Palestine.
And health, a big concern for the people in East Palestine, a big concern for the people in Paulsboro, New Jersey, as well as Graniteville. The Graniteville accident happened 18 years ago, so you figure that's 2 decades. People are still dealing with many of the issues that they dealt with immediately after that incident. Things like COPD, things like asthma, emphysema, even anxiety and PTSD.
Now, Chuck, no one died in Paulsboro, but many of the people I spoke to there tell me that they're very concerned about their long-term health. And one of the more unsettling things is that there hasn't been any kind of long-term health studies in place, which is extremely concerning. We are going to be introducing you to some people that have different health ailments that they're experiencing now more than 10 years later that they tie back directly to the derailment.
And it's been difficult for people in all 3 of these communities to move forward. The people in Graniteville have specific advice for the people that live here in Ohio. They tell them these are the things that you're going to want to look out for, in the days, the months, the years ahead.
Yeah, the sentiment is very similar in Paulsboro. Many people say it almost feels like they're watching history repeat itself. It sparked a lot of anger, frustration, bringing back painful memories. And in many ways, actually, Paulsboro feels forgotten. And this has kind of reignited a passion for railroad safety.
And Graniteville said, this train derailment, this chlorine spill destroyed their town. They have that same sentiment. They feel like they've been forgotten. And we're going to be digging into these stories, all 3 areas across the country, digging into them, hearing from people in these towns that hopefully give some perspective on what lies ahead for the people of East Palestine, like we said, in those weeks, in those months, and those years ahead.
That's right. Our series Off the Rails, Life After Toxic Train Wrecks, begins tomorrow morning with Chuck's first story from Graniteville, and will continue in the afternoon with my first story from Paulsboro. You can also look out for additional information, photos, and stories on our Spectrum News app all week long.